Welcome, guys, to a very special video. My name is Devon Cross, aka T Crispy, and this is the very first episode of the Escape Film Podcast. Alright, so I'm here with
Brock Warren.
So Brock, this is really happening. So this is like our first podcast. That's crazy.
Yeah. I guess we're just gonna do this and see how it goes. This should be fun. I'm excited.
Alright, so the very first thing we should talk about. We're gonna talk about Clone Wars. We're gonna talk about Star Wars Clone Wars. Let's see how we're gonna start this. So I guess we can both kind of talk about like the show itself, like how like when the show was first came out, because I was introduced to the movie first. That's actually how.
Like way back then. Yeah, right.
Because I remember buying that on DVD. I think I still have it on DVD and watching it, and I was like, bro, this is actually pretty cool. This is really awesome. See Anakin and Obi-Wan and actually like see the actual Clone Wars, because we only saw, because before that we had Star Wars Clone Wars, which was actually the micro series that was made on Cartoon Network.
Right.
Which also is a very good show, in my opinion. But yeah, I remember watching the movie, and then I remember waking up every Saturday morning along with watching Ben 10, and then Clone Wars would come on, and I would watch Clone Wars. And then when I found out it was canceled, I was like, I was bummed out. I was really bummed out. And then Rebels came, and all the Rogue One and the sequel trilogy all came, because we're both big Star Wars fans. And then the announcement came that they were gonna come back with season 7, the final season, and I was pumped. Every Star Wars fan were literally losing their minds. I mean, we're gonna see Ahsoka, Rex, Cody, every other people, and to finally see it at an era where everything is just going to end. Like, literally, this is where the prequel saga ends. This is where Clone Wars all ends, and this is what makes his way into the beautiful original trilogy that George Lucas made, and that's what is so important, and that's why I love this. This isn't plugged in, by the way. I'm just happy. It's just that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it with me in Clone Wars. How about you, Brock?
Me with Clone Wars, I think I got Clone Wars late. Like, I might have been season 4 or 5 when I started watching it, but I always knew about it, and I always thought it was pretty cool. I always loved people looking at Anakin Skywalker, and especially the introduction of Ahsoka Tano. Everybody knows Tano. I love Ahsoka Tano, especially in this new season. Incredible. But I remember when it was canceled, I was like, oh, well, I guess that's it now. I guess I can't go back and, see anything else. But yeah, when it was, renewed for this new season, everyone, especially me, I know, I was so excited. And especially to hear that it was going to tie into Revenge of the Sith. That's what kind of fooled me in the season the most, because Revenge of the Sith is one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and to know that it's finally linking up and tying in and it's all coming together, that's what made me, that's what got me so excited. And seeing it all come together is so good, man. So good.
It really is. So, like I said, Clone Wars, this season is actually pretty good. We're not going to get too into it in this episode, because we're going to save that for our May the 4th Star Wars episode. We're just going to talk about nonstop Star Wars all day, which is going to be great. Final episode of Clone Wars comes out that day, so we'll give our thoughts about it. And I'm just excited. This season is getting to the point where it's like, it's going to be so crazy, and literally anything could happen. That's how I feel about it. So, yeah. So, anyways. So, yeah, that was Star Wars, right? So, I think the next thing we can talk about is some DC. Now, early this year, we have been getting these. We got Birds of Prey, or whatever that movie was. I can't even remember the name. Birds of Prey, and DC has really been kind of going through a weird phase. I mean, it has its own streaming service online. Shows are pretty good, but the movies, we don't talk about the movies. It wasn't until it was announced that they were making another Batman movie where I was like, it's probably gonna be an origin story. I mean, that was what it was originally in my mind. Until Brock was telling me how it may have like a year one type vibe to it, and I remember watching the animated movie of Batman Year One and reading a review on the comic, and actually got excited for it. I actually got excited for it, and then they cast Robin Pattinson as Batman, and every nerd, including me, completely went ballistic. Like, I'm sorry, I grew up having to be forced to watch the Twilight series, which we did not talk about. I'm sorry, I had to keep myself from throwing up, but it was just so. It was that was torture, man. That was. Oh God, I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah, yeah. But as Brock was telling me how he gave his thoughts on it about Pattinson being, Batman. I mean, looking at some of the photos and looking at the video of the test suit footage that we saw, he was in the Red Room and all and everything. I mean, it was. I mean, yeah. I'm like, he kind of does look a little bit like Bruce. Like, he gives off those Bruce type vibes. But yeah. But sadly, it's been postponed, along with every other movie this year has come up due to spread of COVID-19, and we're not going to see it until October of next year. October 1st, they said, next year.
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew it was October. I didn't know the actual. Okay.
I mean, I'm excited for the Batman. I would say I'm excited for the Batman. Especially seeing the Batmobile. It looks like a car. I don't know what the heck that car was in freaking Batman v Superman or the rest of the Justice League. That was just like a mess. But I'm telling you, like this version of the Batmobile, I have to say, is like the best yet. Besides the original Michael Keaton and the Tumbler. I love the Tumbler. That was I would have to say that's my favorite Batmobile of any Batman movie series. It's Tumbler. The Tumbler's the best. Tumbler's the best. So, enough about the Tumbler, even though it's the best. So, what are your thoughts on the Batman, Brock?
So, yeah, I remember when the rumors about the movie were happening. Because Ben Affleck had wanted to do his Batman when he was Batman, and obviously he's not Batman anymore, and his version of the movie is not happening. And I was excited for it regardless, because I love Batman. Hearing that there was going to be a new Batman movie excited me. And when I heard that Pattinson got the role, at first it was kind of like a shock to my system. I was like, wait a minute, like I had like the what sort of moment, but I thought about it because I seen this recurring thing with DC where there's a backlash to everything. I saw it with Ben Affleck when he was cast as Batman, he got it really bad. But I thought about it, and I know Robert Pattinson. He's done some movies that everyone knows about, But throughout the years, I wanted to go see The Lighthouse with him and throwing it really bad because I heard that was amazing. And he's made other little short indie films that have been really good that I've heard. So that sort of uh, made me feel confident in him. And once the camera stuff came out, I'm set, man. I can't wait for his performance as Batman. I think he's gonna do great. Of course, we haven't seen too much set stuff. But the one thing I'm actually really excited for the most about this movie is actually the villains. Because I know Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman and Paul Dano is the Riddler. I'm really excited for the Riddler. He's one of my favorite Batman villains, and to see him done, hopefully the way I think they're going with it, I can't wait. I know Colin Farrell's Penguin, there's so cool happening, and like you said before, with the origin, I know that I think I just watched an interview with Matt Reeves. I think he said that they're not doing a straight up origin. It's kind of more so, why? I think he was he phrased it along the lines of it's showing why he's Batman, and not how he's Batman. And I really like the way he's doing it, because I think he's going to try to humanize Batman, and the movie, I think, will be showing us, like I said before, why he's doing what he's doing. And I think he's going to be a year or so into being Batman, so it's going to be him still figuring it out, which is also really interesting. So I'm excited for it, and I can't wait.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm also very excited for the Batman and seeing the villains, especially. To be honest, if I would have to say my favorite Batman villain is, it would of course be the Joker, but me personally, it'd be Mr. Freeze. I love the tragic character, and it's just Mr. Freeze is Mr. Freeze. So, yeah. But yeah, I heard also that it was going to be taking some inspiration from the Long Halloween storyline.
Yes, which is actually funny that it's now that the postponement is now October, because the Batman Long Halloween obviously takes place during that time frame in the comic story, which I think is really, really funny that that's happening now. Obviously, unfortunately, we have to wait now. With the way it's been going, I think it'll be worth
it. It really will. I really have faith in it. Surprisingly, I have faith in it. And from reading the Long Halloween story, it's basically how the comic is. It's Gotham. It's basically the storyline. It's Gotham is changing. It's when Batman came on the scene, just everything changed. How we saw, the world of Gotham changed. All these old mob bosses are just their time is up. It really shows they're really on their last leg, and they're becoming old relics to this new thing, and that of course brings along with costume heroes, costume villains, and that kind of defeats the whole mafia presence, and they're basically on their last leg, and it's basically them just tying up loose ends to their new world, which is the world of the villains. So that's what I really like from that storyline, is how it's Gotham is shedding its skin for something new. It's basically it tells it for Gotham. What it does, it presents Gotham as a snake. When the snake gets old or gets big, it sheds its skin. So this is kind of how I see the Long Halloween. That's basically what it is. It's just Gotham is shedding its skin for something new.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
And yeah, that's basically what the Long Halloween is. It's just something totally new, and yeah, I hope we see a lot of elements in the Batman. And we might get even cooler elements from other Batman stories over the years, and I think it will be a fun movie. I truly believe that Batman is going to be probably one of the most, not if the biggest movies that we had for like a long time. Like this is probably going to be big, and the fact that it's done independently and not a part of the DCEU is actually what I like even more. Because I don't know, y'all been kind of slacking lately with Birds of Prey and Justice League. So, yeah, I mean that's all I really have to say on the Batman. You know, I'm still excited for it. I'm still ready to see what future it has for it, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. Yeah. So that's DC. So yeah, we covered Clone Wars, covered DC, and now it's time for our Marvel portion of the podcast. So, all right, so for Marvel, so what I found very interesting was I was on Netflix and I was looking through it as always, as there's nothing to watch on Netflix anymore. And I came across one of Marvel's old animation movies they made back in like the 2000s. And I actually found this one movie called Thor Tales of Asgard. And basically what the movie is about, it's about Thor, and we see Thor in kind of a different way. We kind of see him as like a teenager along with Loki. Like this is before like he gets his hammer and before he gets it taken away from him. Like this is like before that. It's like we just see Thor and Loki as teenagers going through teenage things, being the princes of Odin and having to deal with the responsibilities of being the prince of Odin. And it's basically, this story is just basically Thor proving his worth and finding his like manhood, if that makes sense. And basically him and Loki and 3 other of his friends, who I forgot their names, go on a quest to find the sword of I cannot pronounce his name.
I think it's Surtur. He was in Thor.
Surtur. He was in Thor Ragnarok. So it's basically Thor is on the quest to find the sword of Surtur, and that's basically it, to prove that he's a real warrior and he's not like, you know, a fake like everybody else sees him back in Asgard. And this movie was fun. It was really fun. It had some moments where it was like, okay, you know, that's obviously was made for kids, but it had like also like adult themes, and it's really a fun movie, and I highly recommend you guys watch it. If you haven't found out about this movie yet and you want to see what it's all about, go on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Hopefully it's on Netflix. If it's not, then I can't help you. So, yeah, I was talking to Brock a little bit about it. I don't think you saw the movie, right?
I have not seen it yet. I actually didn't know that it existed, which was really interesting when you told me, because I know there have been like sort of like, you know, teenage like sort of like stories like Iron Man Armed Adventures is really a good example of that, you know, where he like he carries it down and like make like a story with it. But yeah, when you told me about it, I was like, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, and it really is like just like a fun little adventure. That's basically how I see it. It's like it's just like a fun adventure to have. And that's pretty much all it is. It's just like a nice, fun little adventure movie that every family can watch at home. And I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. You guys might think it's not cool, but hey, who cares? So yeah. That's pretty much it for Marvel. Talked about our 3 things. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. That's literally all we had planned for the podcast. So yeah, I guess this is it. I guess this is it. It ended so quickly. Like I didn't expect it to end that quickly. But yeah, guys. Well, that's gonna do it for today's first podcast ever. we will be doing more, especially stay tuned for our next episode, which would be on May the 4th, our Star Wars special, which we'll talk about the last episode of Clone Wars, the start of the gallery, which is basically the behind the scenes series of The Mandalorian, and just everything we like about Star Wars. So yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. That's gonna be real fun. And yeah, that's going to do it for today. So my name is Devon Cross. I'm with Brock Warren.